What does one usually look for when it comes to a good character in anime? Maybe someone who is funny and likable? Maybe someone who looks to accomplish a goal that many people can relate to? Or maybe just someone who acts cool or badass? There are a lot of factors that can determine whether a character is a good character or not, and it really comes down to personal preference in the end. But I think we can all agree that a huge factor that plays into being a good character is one major thing. And that's if the character in question has made a noticeable mark on the show. How they make that mark can vary in many ways, but the point is that the things they do in the show make them stand out from the others. That's what I believe is the biggest factor when determining good characters in a series. Most of my favorite characters in anime have made that mark in their respective anime, like Yami, Teen Gohan, Todoroki, and the subject of the video for today, Yuno fucking Gasai, the queen and pretty much the founder of the infamous yandere genre herself. Now, is she the most likable character of all time? No, not even fucking close. But is she the most unpredictable, mysterious, and the most I don't give a fuck character ever? Hell fucking yeah. Bro, this girl was out of her fucking mind throughout the entire show. I don't think I've ever seen a show overshadow the protagonist with a different character to this degree. Well, I mean, that's not really surprising, to be honest. This dude's a hot pack of ass. But still, I was glued to my seat watching Future Diary, not necessarily due to the plot, but because of her. She had me on edge the entire time. Kept me thinking of when she was gonna strike next, man, and it was awesome. Let's look through her timeline here a little bit. By the way, I'm throwing out a spoiler warning if you haven't watched Future Diary. Please be sure to watch it before you watch this video so that you could have your own personal opinion before going in. Alright, so while we watch the show, we meet this girl, and while we're watching, we're pretty much given right off the bat that Yuno is a nutcase. Stalking the MC by episode 1? Yeah, that's sanatorium status right there, no question. See, told ya. Feel like she's looking into my soul, man. I mean, just look at those eyes, dude. They'd get anyone thinking twice before messing with her. Like, I mean, look at the face she gives the sixth, man. And all she did at this point was talk shit. She hadn't actually done anything. With no remorse, no regrets, just hacked with that axe. And that's that. So then we get to a nice little scene here with, Yuno breaking into MC's house. Wholesome enough for her, at least. After meeting MC's mom, Yuno spends the day with them and spends the night at their place. And then she says this. Bro, what? This girl was literally willing to go the extra mile just in case MC's mom gave a slightly weird look at her. The minute she detected a negatively charged atom going her way, there was no doubt she would not have hesitated. Girl was about to write herself a new character with MC's mom, just like how she did with this girl. One small step and blam, knife to the waist. But hold on, bruh. This isn't even scratching the surface. I've only shown you the small things she's done so far. You've only seen 10% of her true power. The next 3 examples are the real kicker. I hope y'all are ready for this. Number 1. This girl drugs and kidnaps her own mans, dude. Like, this girl straight up tied him to a chair and pretty much kept him hostage. This shit felt so unreal to me that at first I thought it was a joke, or at least there was a reasonable explanation for it. But nope. She just yoinked his ass just so nobody could touch him. Like, this is genuinely where I thought the inflection point was for Yuno, where we start to see her as an enemy and shit, right? It even looks like MC here realizes that she's not worth it and basically just gives his fuck you speech. You'd think that she'd completely lose it at this point and go on a rampage against everyone or something like that. And then... This is literally the very next episode. Yuno just finds them, walks up to them, and is like, hey, yo, what's up, guys? How you doing? Don't mind me, just, here to help you guys out and shit. She just acts like nothing happened in the last episode. And the awesome part is that everybody plays along with it. They fucking welcome her back. I mean, MC is against taking her back at first. Of course he is, but he eventually falters and takes her back. It was so awesome to know that we were going to see Yuno with us more. Number 2.
おかげで助かったよ。始めるよ、Yuno.
Bro, the first time I saw this, I was laughing my fucking ass off. She came out of nowhere, bro. Like, Just imagine it. You just watched a heartbreaking scene that could change the fate of an important character. MC comes in to save this girl, and then like, she's just out here shooting and slicing up these guys with a smile on her face. Like, god damn. I don't know. I just thought that this was pretty freaking wild, and it deserves its own little section. Number 3. When Yuno finally cracked and became an enemy, it was one of the scariest and most conflicting feelings I ever had watching anime to this day. The only thing that would probably top this is Eren. It sucks having to be going against a character that you have been rooting for the entire time, man. While all of this was happening, I just couldn't shake the feeling that I wanted to be on Yuno's side, even though the anime was giving me reason after reason not to be on her side. It's like when you're playing against your favorite sports team in a sports game. You want to be on the other side, but you have to beat them in order to save your own skin. That's kind of how I felt. But bruh, having Yuno as an enemy is the kind of thing that I never want to experience again. I mean, just look at all the shit she does when she's on the bad side. Wasn't even on the dark side for 2 seconds, and she's out here stabbing herself, deceiving MC, having him kill every one of his friends one by one. The person who has been destroying everything in her path, slicing and chopping down people like no tomorrow, is now doing that, but in our direction, and it was terrifying. And to top it all off, she pretty much gets what she wants in the end. She gets to be alone with the person she loves. It was pretty much her goal since the beginning of the anime, and in the end, she achieved it, even if it was only temporary. She got her quote-unquote happy ending, even if it was only for a little while. Now, this is all good and fine, seeing how unbelievably ruthless Yuno is and all that. However, I want to bring up a point that doesn't necessarily cement Yuno as one of my favorite characters ever, mainly because it's already cemented, but it's something that comes full circle and refines that spot. In the entire time of watching Yuno, there was something missing from the experience. Something I realized once I saw the last episode of the main series, not counting Redial. One selfless act. After everything goes to absolute shit with worlds breaking and colliding, and after trying to go into a world where Yuno can be with Yuki by themselves in the most sane moment of her span in the show, she finally realizes what she was. In an attempt to keep herself with MC, she was feeding into the idea of playing this survival game over and over and over again for as long as she could, causing the people around her to suffer, causing Yuki to suffer, and more importantly, causing herself to suffer. She realizes that she herself was the problem. With that piece of information finally showing in the light, she takes the blade that hundreds of people have suffered from and turns it on herself, promptly breaking this cycle of misery that she invited everyone to be a part of and essentially finishing the game. Now, don't get me wrong. I love the insane Yuno that we got to see throughout the entire anime. It is definitely the main reason why Yuno is one of my favorite characters of all time. But I can't help but say how nice it felt seeing Yuno, after all this time, finally come to her senses and be in a relatively sane state for just that one time. A state where she's able to sympathize with people. It was pretty heartwarming, I'm not gonna lie. She had me feeling emotional in my core, man. And I appreciate that feeling. Going back to my question of what makes a good character, all this adrenaline I felt during the show, as well as the emotional impact towards the end of it, definitely correlates to the answer of that question. It made a huge mark on the series that ultimately made the anime a lot more enjoyable. At least that's what I think. And due to this, I always find myself thinking about Future Diary and asking myself that if Yuno wasn't a character, would this anime be sustainable? Would this show still be enjoyable had Yuno never existed? Part of me wants to say yes, because the development of the story is still interesting and there are still characters like Minene around. But the other part of me says no, because the concept of the show, or rather what the show is about, is mediocre at best and the MC is god-awful. However, there is one thing that is abundantly clear. The show would definitely not be the same without Yuno. She pretty much took a not so appealing anime and brought it to unexpected heights. A show that would probably be sitting at C tier for me is elevated to a borderline A tier just because of her. And after what she made me go through, if I'm talking from that perspective, all I could say is it was a pleasure watching Yuno, and it was a pleasure watching Mirai Nikki. But I want to hear what you guys think about Yuno. Let me know down below in the comments whether or not you thought Yuno was an amazing character to watch, or if you absolutely hate her guts. I'm genuinely curious to know. Also, feel free to like the video, and if you enjoyed it, then make sure to subscribe as well. It's all free and available to you down below, and make sure you stay tuned for the next video. Thank you for taking the time to watch the video, and I'll catch you in the next video.